Welcome back to Minor League Matters. I'm Ken Lammers, and today we're going to talk about whether cricket could survive in the United States, particularly, say, a T20 league in the U.S. So, let's get cracking. Okay, so I've been watching cricket. I watched the single day match World Cup, I guess ODI. I've been watching this weekend some of the attempts to get it going in Canada, which is interesting. Saw what I think is the shortest cricket game I will ever see in my life today, where one team struggled to get to 100 points and barely made it. And the other team just finished them off, with 10 wickets left. A really quick game. Anyway, so I've been watching it, and you look around, and there's some really fairly rabid fans out there. I've noticed that from the commentary I get on some of these cricket videos I've done. Some really rabid fans, and more power to them. Everybody should love the sport they love, and I like cricket. Don't bear them any ill will for enjoying it more than me. Having said all that, I did start thinking, could this be put together in the United States? And I don't know if it can. Now, let me explain that. In the United States, obviously, cricket would be a summer sport, right? And it runs into three competitors in the States. One is not terribly well established itself, and that would be Major League Lacrosse. That is the lowest of leagues in the United States right now for summer leagues. And Major League Lacrosse last year, I can't tell you this year, I haven't been able to find this year's stats, but last year averaged 3,600 people per match. It's a low level starting league, and it would be a competitor with cricket. We'd also have soccer. Soccer is played in the summer in the United States for fairly obvious reasons. Now, soccer right now is the number 5 sport in the United States. Right now, soccer is averaging in the United States this year just barely north of 20,000 people every game. And 9 of the 23 teams actually average more than 20,000. The other all average less than 20,000 per game. Anyway, so soccer is not necessarily the biggest competitor to cricket. The biggest competitor, the sport that tends to fill pretty much the exact same spot as cricket, is baseball. And yes, I realize they come from different roots and they are, differently developed games with nuances to each game that aren't in the other. Your general, I'm just going to go to the park and watch a game fan is going to be between baseball or cricket. He's not going to make a choice where he's going to follow both of them unless he's a super fan. And we all know some of those are out there, but not likely. Let's be honest, if a cricket league started in the United States, it really would be competing with minor league teams in baseball to fill that slot. It wouldn't be up to the level of Major League Baseball, the highest, best league in the world for baseball. So baseball right now is averaging somewhere about just north of 28,000 people per game. Obviously, baseball is a everyday sport where of the 30 teams, well, 15 teams are at home every day playing a game, and they're filling 28,000 plus seats per game. And that's even with teams like Miami. Well, not teams like Miami. Nobody's like Miami. That's even with Miami tanking on its numbers like it does year after year after year because Miami's ownership management has sucked for so many years. Moving on, no bitterness here. Actually, I'm a Cincinnati fan, so what do I care? The problem then becomes, what are you going to do? I mean, what are you going to do if you're going to actually try to get cricket going in the States? Well, first of all, you have to realize that you're probably competing with, oh, single A baseball, maybe advanced A baseball. Uh, you're in that slot, right? So you're looking to put a couple thousand people in the stands every game, if you're lucky. An example of what to expect is, well, for instance, what happened last year when Canada did their T20 tournament. First year, and I'm sure they played it up, but they got, at least according to the Globe, they got less than half of their stadium filled at any time, and the stadium's filled up at 7,000 people. So they never got more than 3,500 people at a game. Not, a respectable number for a beginning league in a place where the sport is not established. As I said, they're going to be competing with single A, advanced A teams for that space, right? In baseball. Could they do this in the States, get actually up to 3,500 people? Well, if you look at what the fan base is going to be, and let's be honest here, no offense to anybody, I hope, but the fan base in the United States is not going to be your cornbread Iowa boy. That kid is going to go off and play baseball, football, basketball, maybe if he's far enough north, hockey. These are what he's going to learn and what he has learned. And, if he's going to play with the kids in his street, he's going to go play Little League Baseball, right? So if you want to establish cricket, you're going to have to go to the people who care about cricket. And the people who care about cricket that are in fairly decent numbers in certain places in the United States are the Indians. There are fairly large communities of Indian immigrants in the United States, in certain cities. As with most migration patterns, most immigrants settle in city areas. I looked it up last week sometime, and I'd have to really look again, but as I recall, it was New York area has like 300,000, and there are substantial communities in Chicago, DC, San Francisco, San Diego, if I remember right, and probably one or two other cities that have got a few, got 30,000 or more, right? These are communities that can support a team. Now, obviously, your problem there becomes, okay, so we're going to get people who have immigrated from India, Pakistan, Sri Lanka, whoever has immigrated from Australia or England or South Africa too. We're going to get these people to come and play. Fine. We're going to get these people to come and watch. Even more important. Problem again becomes then you have to build a stadium. And judging from what I'm seeing the Canadians playing on right now, which seem to be scratch-built stadiums, they didn't have stadiums, and we don't have them here in the States either. And the fact you have an immigrant community in the New York City area that's fairly large and probably could support 2, maybe 3, modest cricket teams where you weren't being insane and trying to spend a gazillion dollars on players and build stadiums that seat 30,000 people. If you build a stadium that seats 5,000 people, heck, if you build a stadium that seats 2,000 people and you start playing, that's great. Except where are you going to find the space in New York City? Right? You could probably put 2 or 3 teams in the New York City, New Jersey area if you could get a small stadium built up there. Where? I mean, cities are harder to build in. I mean, it's a lot easier if somehow cricket becomes an amazingly popular sport in Wyoming, right? I suspect there's plenty of unused space in Wyoming where you could build cricket stadiums. Watch. Now I've done it. Wyoming is going to be flooded with Indians, Pakistanis, Sri Lankans, Bangladeshis, everything. Everybody's just going to go to Wyoming. Good luck, guys. I don't know if I'm saying good luck to immigrants that want to move to Wyoming or Wyoming people. Because I don't know if there's a city in Wyoming that's bigger than 5,000. Probably. But I digress. Okay, so you have a problem with putting a field location together. Now, truly dedicated people will find a way around that and put a field location together. So here's my thoughts on this. You could do it. And if it's a T20 league, it's going to have to play more like baseball does in the States, right? You're not going to do a tournament type thing like they're doing in Canada, right? Where you put together 6 teams that are putatively from this province or that city. What good does that do you? Really, what you've done is you put together, I don't know how many people with enough money to say that they've got a team from Edmonton, Toronto, that sort of thing. These teams aren't actually playing where they're supposed to be from. They're playing wherever this tournament is. And you could do that in the States as well. You could probably set up a tournament somewhere around New York and do really well with it. You could set up a tournament probably somewhere around Chicago or San Francisco. Well, good luck finding the land to do it in San Francisco. But you could, set up one in one of these communities and probably run a 15 to 30 day tournament and do pretty decent. And that'll be the end of it because that doesn't spread the sport anywhere and nobody will watch it or know anything about it except for immigrants who go to it and people from whatever city it's in. Not really something that's going to grow the sport. If you really want to do it, what you've got to do is set up 4, 5, 6 teams in a league, probably a regional league. Something like baseball being all over North Carolina in the Sally League or the Southern League or the Carolina League. There's a lot of baseball in North Carolina. And you'd have to set up a regional cricket league. And you want to set it up where there are people there who are already familiar with and love the sport. That's probably New York, New Jersey. If you keep it small with stadiums that seat 1,000, 2,000 people, and you start the sport up small, and you make sure that travel expenses aren't massive. I mean, if you actually do it where there are different immigrant communities, DC, New York, probably 2 teams in New York, Chicago, San Francisco, San Diego. You got to pick something in the middle of the country, probably Kansas City. They seem to get a lot of things because of that, or St. Louis. And you do that, you're going to go under like that because you don't have the money for it. If you do it, you got to do it small. You got to start small and you got to grow it. And as you get the interest, then you grow it outward. And this is not a 10-year project. You might perhaps look at a 10-year profitability zone. You start out assuming losses because you've got to build stadiums and that sort of thing. And in 10 years, want to be profitable. Potentially viable goal. More like 15 to 20 maybe. And by the time you get there, assuming that you get to the point you've got, 1,500 people coming to every game, you're selling all sorts of concessions, you're really doing well. At most of them, you've let the couple that flounder go away. You've replaced them with better teams and better locations. And say you've got New York, New Jersey, and parts of Pennsylvania all sewn up, right? you're making profits. Well, then you consider making another, a western portion of your league, which goes from Chicago to well, probably goes around Chicago, Detroit area, like that. Uh, if you take these small steps and understand this isn't going to be a 5 or 10 year project, this is going to be a generational project, and grow it in the minds and interests of the people, you might have a chance. Unfortunately, nobody works this way, right? Everybody wants to come in and go, boom, there you are. And boom, there you are doesn't work. So if anybody out there is interested in starting a multi-generational project, bringing cricket to the States and growing it slowly and moving it along, I think you might be able to do it. I don't think you'll ever probably crack the big four: baseball, football, basketball, and hockey. But I think you could make it a self-sustaining, fairly substantial league. And I wish y'all luck in the world. If I was 20 years younger and a multi-billionaire, I'd be right there with you. I'm not either of those things. Haven't managed to get that first billion in my pocket yet. So I leave it in your all's hands. Find a way. Maybe you'll be able to make it work. And with that, I'm going to finish up for today. Oh, I think I'm mandated by YouTube rules somewhere to say all this stuff. If you like what you've seen today, hit like. If you really like what you see all around here all together, hit subscribe. And if you hit subscribe, you really should hit that bell wherever it is up there. I can't even remember where the bell is, so that you automatically get told when I put up a post. And beyond that, go watch some sports, folks, because somebody's got to, and it's a lot of fun. I'll see you next time. Bye now.